So out on a little walk with Astro here. I have my bike gloves on. He has bitten me pretty hard a couple of times today. And then I have my extra long flexi, the 33-foot flexi, to hopefully try to give him a little bit more freedom so that he can go do stuff and start relaxing around me more and more. As well, it's got a little bit thicker line, so it's less likely to get bitten through. But you can also see he's dragging a chain here, leash, so that I can attach this to that instead. And that way I can be a little bit more direct with the obedience by grabbing it and picking up the chain if I need to, in case he bites through this flexi or something like that happen. But he's been getting more used to the pressure, and he's been able to interact more and more naturally. So we're definitely making progress and things are going well. I'm going to see if I can unlock play with him, because that would be the best possible thing that we could do. So I'm definitely going to be working on that, and I'll see what I can do with it. And we're just walking in a low distraction environment. Not too much chaos or commotion, so that we can hopefully try to get him a little bit chilled out. But I am going to be putting a little bit of pressure on him today to get him more used to feeling a little bit of negative reinforcement, get him used to feeling a little bit of tension on the leash that comes from me. I've been doing positive counter conditioning with the collar grab, and he lets me grab his collar much more easily now. The reason that he bit me a little bit harder earlier today was when I was putting his prong collar on. I had a little bit of a hard time getting it on, and I think that it just kind of like freaked him out. So that kind of thing can happen. It does. Oh well, you just do what you can with that kind of thing. And the important thing is that when he bit me, I didn't do anything to retaliate, so I did not punish it. And then additionally, I didn't move, because that's what the bike gloves are for. My hand is going to be a little bit sore. He put enough pressure on my thumb where I'm going to have a couple of bruises on my hand from the bite, but it didn't penetrate the gloves. They got Kevlar, and they're called Armor Hand. Shout out to Armor Hand. They're really, really nice gloves, and they really do protect your hands pretty well. This is nice. I'm just going to see how far away he walks from me if I stop walking, or see if he checks in with me. Yeah, he checked in with me. Good. I'd like to be able to bathe him, but I cannot yet, because I'm still desensitizing him to my touch, letting him feel a little bit better about being around me and touching me. But he has definitely made huge progress already. I'm able to take him out on walks, and very shortly we're going to be going on walks together in public more often, because we've only been able to do that relatively sparingly. Out here we've been taking walks in like kind of more wildernessy rural areas, but we will be moving on to going into more public areas, and then start to really push the obedience side of things now that he's starting to feel more trusting, calmer, and then we can start to address some of the behavioral issues as well. Because initially his program, we did not necessarily have the idea that he was going to be quite so nervous and willing to actually fully bite, because he was willing to bite with his full force, and he's a Shepherd Husky mix, so that's pretty darn hard. That's why I'm gonna have bruises on my hands. But now that I'm starting to work through that, and we've made a lot of progress, I did a lot of just like daily counter conditioning with him. Now that we've made it through that, I can start to punish the reactivity relatively soon, as well as just getting him more used to feeling negative reinforcement, getting pressure put on, and then seeing how he can release the pressure with very simple black and white commands, which should be very helpful. He's gonna poop on the leash. No, he didn't, yay. But very black and white commands. And then from the black and white commands, we'll move on to things that are a little bit more gray, that are harder to make black and white, like a heel command. But things like sit and down and place are very black and white, and we'll be able to quickly work through those as soon as I get him to the point where he's used to the negative reinforcement. He already has his like food marker to get a reward for food charged, and ideally I can unlock a little bit of play. He does have some hip problems, but even doggies with a little bit of hip problems, you can modify play for them and do all kinds of different stuff with them. So I'm going to try just a little recall here, but without using the actual command, and we're just going to do it with come. Astro, come. Chip. You want it? All right, we'll just use a release to freedom then. Okay. And so okay, said like that, okay, is going to be his release command. So we're just going to use release to freedom in the environment for the reward, because he doesn't really care for the treats while we're out here, because this is way more interesting. So we'll just use this. Astro, come. Good boy. Good. Astro, sit. Good. Okay. Now I think Astro already has a decent understanding of the word sit. Like I've asked him to sit without any leash on or anything like that, and without any reward, and he will sit for me, right? So what's the purpose of practicing the sit again in this scenario? Well, it's actually perfect, because it's a very like kind of low stress thing, because he already knows the command, so he does know what to do. So it's a perfect place for me to start adding in that little bit of pressure. All I'm doing is just doing a little tiny bit of leash pressure that I'm layering onto the sit cue, because then I'm not putting more pressure on him. You know, like if I were trying to teach him a new command, then that could be like really yikes. You know, that could be something where it makes him freak out, right? They'd be more likely to like bug out. Don't drink that water, that's gross. So instead of that, you know, like say, or try to teach him down or middle or heel or something like that, that could really mess him up if I try to teach him that and layered on negative reinforcement right away. But since sit seems to be something that he's already decent at, I can layer the negative reinforcement on right away, and it's not too stressful because he knows how to resolve the stress pretty quickly. Astro, come. Good boy. Astro, sit. Right, and see, he fights it a little bit. Okay. And I just give him the negative reinforcement marker, which is That marker just means, hey, dude, stop it. Right? Chill out. Not quite. Or really, actually, sorry about that. Is actually more a little bit, is more like, you've made a mistake, right? You've made a mistake. That was incorrect. Try again, right? If I used the positive punishment marker, which is nope, that would mean, hey, don't do that again, dude. Right? Chill out. Stop it. Right? Good boy. Come on. Good boy. Good job. Right, that's what we use for when they just don't know a thing. All right, so what I'm going to do here actually is I'm going to clip this a little bit lower onto the collar, because onto this leash, I mean, because it's consistently he's like dragging and stepping on it, and that's a little bit interrupting. It's a flow interrupt, so it interrupts. See if this works a little bit better. Yeah, I think that's a little better. Nope. Yeah, I think that's a lot better. Yeah, much better, that one. I think that's going to be a little bit easier for him. Astro, come! Come! Good boy! Come! Good boy. Astro, sit. Sit. Nope. 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 That won't work. Sit. So I'm just going to put the pressure right back on him. Sit. Because panicking and rolling around on the ground is not a solution to his issue, and he needs to know that. So I'm not really putting a lot of physical force here. Sit. But that's his reaction. Sit. Sit. Okay. Good boy. And see now, since I didn't give in to that, that resolved his issue in a relatively low stress way, right? That's a little bit stressful, obviously, like it's not his favorite experience, but you don't have to like freak out on the dog and beat him up or anything, you know. You can just give a little bit of pressure. Don't give in to them kind of like playing, because that's a learned behavior. If they think that that works, and they'll keep doing it, and then that's how you can start to introduce utilizing some leash pressure to start introducing the idea of giving to pressure. Good boy. Good job. Astro, come. Good. Astro, good boy. Astro, hey bud. Hey buddy. Sit. Sit. Okay. Good boy. Right there. He figured it out very quickly. That's how it was easy peasy. He just went ahead and resolved the pressure by doing what I asked, which was sitting when he felt the pressure. And so that's the lesson that we're trying to get him to learn, so that he can have an easier time in the future when I'm using these to teach. So that's a little Astro update for you guys. Expect a lot more frequent Astro updates coming up here in a moment. He's been making progress the whole time, and now I'm going to start recording a lot more of it and posting all of it up as we go. Astro, come. Good boy. All right, let me get you untangled. Good, shake that off. Good job, dude. Good job. All right, that's all for now, folks.